Hello and welcome to a very special Franchise Hockey Manager stream. My name is Adam, I'm the Community Manager. Not with me is FHM producer Jeff, and we are here with the brand new Franchise Hockey Manager 5. If this is the first time you're seeing this, we announced the game last week, and or rather earlier this week, and if you want to play this, if you go onto our website right now, which is ootpdevelopments.com, and purchase the game, you'll get access to the open beta starting tomorrow, October 1st. So, as I'm just trying to get things realigned here, just so we make sure the image is right where we want it to be. Alright. So this is Franchise Hockey Manager 5. We're going to start a new game, and to show you some of the new things you can do in Franchise Hockey Manager 5, I thought we would start off with an expansion team. And we're going to start off with the Quebec Nordiques. We're going to re-add Quebec to the league. If you missed our first video, we went over some of the new features in Franchise Hockey Manager 5. And you can catch that video on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/ootpdevelopments, talking about some of the stuff we are going to be doing in this one. I'm going to show you right from the beginning what you need to do if you want to expand the league. Cowboy Fan 1022 in the chat asks, is this the new one? Yes, this is Franchise Hockey Manager 5. As you can see, our base leagues haven't changed. You still need to have the National Hockey League and American Hockey League. But after that, we have everybody else listed. So, not too many league changes this time, but there is some new things we can do. Number one, to do an expansion, you need to be on July 1st. This is challenge mode, again back from FHM 4. We're not going to do challenge mode right now. We're going to start with our new team, which is Quebec Nordiques. So let's go, what should our player's name be? What should our manager's name be? Let's go with, good afternoon, the Yipster. I'm trying to think of a good manager name. Alright, let's go with... Yeah, sure, we'll go with... No, not P. Let's spell that correctly. Let's go with Paul. Actually, no, not Paul. I've been thinking... Thomas Birch. I was lucky enough to watch Paul McCartney live, which is why he's on my mind. So we're going to go with Paul, but we're going to call him Paul... what's a good name? Good last name. We'll go with Paul Roy. He was born in... Well, let's put him born in Hull. No, let's not make him American. Let's go with... How about just a good old Saskatoon boy? Prairie boy, and he's going to take over. Let's put him in July. Put him July 1st. So he has a random birthday. He will be born in 1980. We want to do, so to make sure we can expand, this is important, we want to start here and start on July 1st. We're also going to change it just so we're known nationally. We want to be GM head coach. We do not want to pick a team. Now you'll notice that when setting up your manager this year, the game automatically defaults to balanced. You can change it, which is fine. I'm going to make a couple tweaks and put my coach to a motivational speaker, so just readjust some of my ratings. And so I go very offensive and physical. Now the game is going to take a minute to load in, because it's adding thousands of players to the database right now. But what we're going to do is we're going to reorganize the league, add Quebec in, and move a few teams. Well, move at least one team to a different division, which is something new for Franchise Hockey Manager 5. And I'll show you how to do that as well. Now, even though we're starting July 1st, the database is, as you can see, is still set, to opening night 2018, which means the rosters are set as opening night 2018. New this year as well, I listed on the forums, I listed what's new on the forums, which you can find at ootpdevelopments.com/board, or clicking the community button in the top right-hand corner when you get to the website. What are some of the new features? Somebody brought up and asked, can you expand more than just the NHL? And the answer this year is yes. With it's not your typical expansion, but you can add teams to new leagues, including all the leagues in North America, as well as the KHL. Teams won't get to draft players. You'll be able to build a team through free agency the first year, and they will join the team after that. So that's something new as well. Now, when creating a new team, there's a couple different ways. Now, we could create Quebec and have them just do it through free agency, but we'll do the expansion draft. We're going to do an expansion draft with the Quebec Nordiques. We're going to add Quebec to the league, or re-add them to the league. And I've been thinking about this, and I'm going to move a team from the east to the west, but probably not a team you're expecting. I'm going to move a team that wasn't in the west many years ago back to the west. So no, it's not going to be Detroit or Columbus. Ricky in the chat says, are all players now and future generated at the start of a game? Example, when some people retire, they are recycled, or will it generate new players over time too? The game will generate players over time too. It's not going to recycle people. New this year as well in historical mode, though, is you can have random debuts and set that up. So, for instance, as I said, I started a game in 1997, and so the Detroit team had Devontae Smith-Pelly, who's currently playing for Washington, had Gump Worsley, who was a goalie for the Leafs back in the 30s and 40s. I know Jeff ran one game, and one of our testers ran a game, and they had a young Gordie Howe with a young Wayne Gretzky playing on, I think it was the Leafs as it turned out. So I mean, there's all these kind of fun, interesting things can happen. So all right, our game has loaded in. We are Paul Roy. We're age 38, GM head coach. We do not have a job. We have a few job offers here. We don't really care about those. What we want to do is expand. So first thing we need to do is go to the manager tab, go down to options, and we need to turn commissioner mode on. If you do not have commissioner mode on, you cannot do this. Go back to the home page. We click on the NHL tab, and at the bottom there is the edit button. This page looks pretty new. Or sorry, not new. It's the same as it previously has been. What's different is the structure here. So by clicking this, we can see exactly how the structure of the league works, and all these teams as they currently are. Now we're going to add a new team, but before I do that first, yes, you can actually remove teams from the league. So if you want to shrink the league all the way down, you can, and players will get released into free agency. And so you can run with like an 8-team league or a 6-team league and see how much talent there actually would be. What we're going to do is this. So I'm going to add Quebec eventually here in a few minutes by expansion. But what I'm going to do is I am going to make some people angry, and I'm going to go to the Atlantic Division, and I'm going to take the Toronto Maple Leafs and move them to the Central Division. So now the Atlantic is one team short, and that's where I'm going to add Quebec. Now, after making a structure, we might have to rebuild the schedule. We'll worry about that in a minute, or we can click it now. It does it on the fly. It does it pretty quick. So now the Central is actually really stacked, which should be pretty fun. So now I want to add my team. Going to go back to this edit, and there's League Expansion Wizard, Expand League. Again, you have to be on July 1st. Doesn't matter what year. Commissioner mode, July 1st. So I'm going to do that. Now, the game's defaulting to Seattle for obvious reasons, but I'm going to go to... Now I got to make sure I get the right division because I just suddenly blanked on it. I want to add them to the Atlantic Division. So let's go back, expand the league. We're going to the Atlantic. We're going to add the Quebec Nordiques. And now before I did this, I have also added the Quebec logo and jerseys in to my save folder. So the city name is Quebec City, which comes up on the search, and our arena name is going to be Central Division just got harder. Rip my blues, says the Yipster. Yeah, that's going to be tough. Is it the Videotron Center? Is that the name of it? I'm trying to remember. How about just the Quebec Ice Palace? And we're going to take over the team right away. So we're going to click, make sure everything's set up. Okay. So our team is being generated and starting to load. If we click back to home, we can now see the Quebec Nordiques logo has loaded in. Our first game is going to be against Chicago. A new story has come up. Now, I'm still playing. This is a beta, which will be available tomorrow, though it might be a slightly different version. We can see I have codes on in case something happens right now. Yes, the Central Division is going to be a lot more fun. But hopefully we can build a pretty decent team with Quebec. Now, what can we do right now? The draft will happen tomorrow. So right now what I want to do is actually go to, on our side here you can see all these new buttons, and I want to click on, if I hold over them I can see different options. And I'm going to pull up my personnel file, and I added a really good coach apparently, so that's awesome. We're gonna go add a couple more coaches because we don't want, so we want to go assistant coach, and we're gonna look at training. So we have a good goalie coach apparently because that's what he is. So we can have Chris Chelios. New this year is you can actually hire assistant as a head coach. So we're going to hire Chris Chelios, bring him on to coach defense. Offense. Yeah, we're going to bring Wendell Clark in. All right, we're looking pretty good here. Skills coach. Okay, let's bring in Kurt Frazier as our skill coach. We'll have to assign him in a minute. Right now we want to add as well a trainer. And so we'll add Peter Friesen as our trainer. So if we go back to the team staff, I'm going to assign Chris Chelios as my defensive coach, Wendell Clark as my offensive coach, and Kurt Frazier as my skills coach. So now I got a pretty good balance. He had low everything. Yeah, trainers, it's actually, he's above average for his training. It's a little bit harder to read quite what the stats are for that. I'm not great at it. One of the other things we will do more as we go on, we don't have a lot of scouts, so we'll need to add a few scouts, because if you know anything, I like my scouts. If you've ever watched any of our streams before, scouting doesn't look a whole lot different this year. I'm just going to look for some of the best guys available. So let's see, Andrew Tobias, let's hire him as a scout. Okay, you're going to pay him some money. Hire him as a scout. Good. WHL job. Matt Rickey. Yes, hire another scout. And we'll just add a few right now. If I continue to play this game, we'll want to add quite a few over the time. Because we're going to want guys scouting everywhere. What I was just going to try and quickly do was find our guy for Ontario. I just saw Quebec flash here. Justin Murray. All right. So now we have some Quebec guys in, so that's good. I'm going to look at free agents here. So again, clicking on the Nordiques, I can go down to Free Agent Center. Right now, I know we're going to build our team, but I'm just going to look at unrestricted free agents. And really, I just want some young guys who might be decent prospects, who don't have rights to anybody. So I can see there's a guy here, Zach Walker. He doesn't want that much and will be good to play in our minor leagues. And okay, we added a forward, added a defenseman. Ricky says, are you able to customize playoff format, like remove the wild card and add back 1-8 format, or does it only change in historical game? Thanks for answering the questions. The Yipster, yes, you can change that, as I said, yeah, if you missed that. I'm just looking to see here if there's anybody else I want to add. Let's just look at top abilities in case somebody jumps off. Gonna add Samuel Dove, sure. Not paying these guys a lot, expecting them to be minor leaguers. Maybe they'll turn into something. If not, they're just minor contracts that are not going to hurt us. All right, so that's pretty good for that. So playoff formats, yes, you can do some tweaking. If we go back to, you have to be on July 1st again. Need to go back to the edit and go to the rules here. You can see if I click on these, you can actually change a little bit. So 8 teams, 4 per conference. NHL is by default, but you can make some adjustments. When you do this, it might need to regenerate the schedule. For instance, if I only want the top 2 teams playing in the Stanley Cup Final, I could do that. Not really something that interests me. I can also make adjustments on the salary cap as well. So I'm just going to click save on this right now in case I accidentally adjusted something. And now that we have our basis for our team kind of set up, we're just going to click continue till tomorrow. Although I realize my colors are actually off here. Green is an interesting color for the Nordiques. Let me see if I can make a slight adjustment there. The Yipster says, okay, awesome. Yeah, I missed it with dealing with the kids. Love that feature. Would be pretty awesome for future editions where maybe a team could sign or offer your assistant coach a head coaching positions. Could be where loyalty comes into a factor. I think, yeah, that's kind of something where we want to head towards. But, you know, we also have other things we want to do as well. Now, again, it's July 1st, so there's a bunch of new stuff coming as well. So, again, the game may take a minute to load. And now it's, because that July 1st has happened, it's going to make the save file here. So we have a bunch of job offers. At this point, again, I don't really have any interest in taking over any international teams, but I could. Going back here, we can see everybody's kind of coming along. We're just trying to see if we can get a couple guys. Gives a little bit of depth. Now down here we can see the NHL entry draft for next year is already up. Our expansion draft is available here. If you add a team just through the structure, it's all free agents. Free agency that you have to build the team, just so we're clear on this. Now if I want to edit my Nordiques team, I'm just going to see if I can change that color. We're going to change this color to, let's try red. See if that works. That's better. Yeah. All right, so let's look at our expansion draft. Now the expansion draft rules have been edited a little, but they still go back to a pre-Vegas style. So our first 3 rounds are goaltender. So if we take a look at the best goalies available, Philip Grubauer is on a 3-year, $33 million, which I actually don't mind. UC Saros is not getting paid a lot either. Tristan Jarry was another one who's kind of minor right now. Not sure why it's saying he's 17. Alright, that's going to have to get fixed there, because he's definitely not 17. Again, minor league stuff, so when something happens, that's why we do this, so we can fix it. And why we have the beta. We're going to add... Philip Grubauer is going to be our goaltender. Pick him up. Since we can, we might as well help out some of the central teams, and we'll pick up UC Saros to be our backup. So we got 2 fairly young goalies. It'd be good to have somebody who's just kind of able to play in a bit of a push role. So if we just look at age, we'll grab Eric Comrie from the Jets. Maybe not. Let's not grab Comrie. Let's grab... Just taking a look here. We're going to grab... Alright, Carpacello from Columbus. Alright, so now we're done drafting goalies, so I'm going to filter back off goalies, and we're picking defensemen. So let's look at available defensemen. Revenger in the chat says, are we ever any improvements on how young players develop? I like to rebuild, but it's very hit and miss. You're still going to have some changes for sure, and some different availabilities, but overall I've noticed it seems to be that development long-term has balanced out more, and haven't seen there's been a few more stars in my personal experience in the games. Not crazy amounts, but you know, the right amount. We're going to grab Calvin DeHaan as our first pick. So we have decent left-handed defenseman. And from there, taking a look at all the names available. And there is a lot. We're going to grab... Now, there isn't a limit on how many we could take from the team. Nick Bird 23. Has there been many late round picks that turned out like 3 stars or better? I've seen guys develop higher. Yes. Again, there's not lots, but there's not lots in real life either. There's some. And you have to remember, a 2-star player or better is a NHL caliber player on our current rating system. Steady contributor in the NHL. We'll grab Josh Manson to give us hopefully a good... So there's our first pairing, DeHaan and Manson. I like that. I do not want a 5-year contract. I'll take Gustav Olofsson from Minnesota. Take a look here. Okay, we're going to grab... Ryan Ellis has 9 years left on his deal. I don't want that. That's too many. Stephen Jones. Okay. Yeah, I would take Stephen Jones. Dallas. Alright, so that gives us 4 pretty steady defensemen. Grab Braden Coburn for give us a bit of depth as well. So we were kind of going back and forth on left-handed, right-handed defenseman. 5. tough decisions. If you're saying, how does the rating system grade now? It's not different from last year, but there seemed to be some miscommunication where people think that if a player isn't 3 stars, it means they shouldn't be playing in the NHL, and that's not the case. If a player is, I said 2 stars, they can play in the league and be a steady contributor. 1.5 stars is a guy who might be on your 4th line or seventh defenseman type guy who can kind of come in and out of the lineup. 1 star is somebody who you'd use in a pinch. 1/2 star is someone who you really wouldn't want on your team unless it's an absolute emergency. Now, this is a little bit different for historical because they're somewhat on the old rating system, so you'll see more guys at 1/2 stars. Calgary really wants to get rid of TJ Brody, so let's take him. And we'll take Joe Morrow, because I actually do like Joe Morrow from the Jets. Yes, I am a Jets fan. Ratcast, please pull this on YouTube. I'm going to get it up on YouTube as fast as I can, which means you might have a little bit of me bantering at the start as I'm making sure everything's working. One of the things we've been working on is trying to get more accurate fighting majors. I haven't played a ton of the in-games to watch stuff, so I don't want to comment on that too much, but I know there is people who are looking at that information. So we still need a few more defensemen. What's our age here? So try and find some guys for the... Okay, Dylan Hetherington. Yes, that works. Again, click on the age, sort here again. Okay, something went wrong with Pittsburgh stuff. Okay, because they're showing up at 17 years old when those guys are not 17. So that's a good thing to fix. Learn out, yes, done. Okay, still need another one. Okay, we'll take Douche. And now we're up to the forward draft. So we're going to take defensemen off. And we'll look at our forwards. So William Nylander is available because Toronto's mad. So he's immediately our first selection. Oh, Nick Ritchie's available. What's his contract like? Doesn't have a contract right now. That would explain it. Yeah, we'll grab Nick Ritchie as well. That kind of builds a nice little first line. With, all right, let's see, who are we gonna have? Did I only accidentally? No, okay. Just how it's sorted. Well, let's grab Jordan Stahl to bring him in. He'll be a good veteran present for us. Veteran presence for us. I really don't want to pay Kyle Turris big money. Just trying to look. Josh Bailey should be in 6 years. What is that contract length? Or not length, what's the contract amount? $5 million cap hit. It's not unreasonable. If it doesn't work out, we can probably get rid of him. Yeah, Josh Bailey on our second or third line would look pretty good. We'll grab... Just taking a look through the list. James Neal has shown back up already. I could grab Jordan Eberle. I feel bad about taking all those Islanders. Alright, we're going to grab Adam Lowry from the Jets too, because we can. grab Michael Grabner because he's a pretty good goal scorer. Not going to pay him a ton of money, so that's okay. Ooh, I could grab Bobby Ryan. That'd be a good contract to have, right? Right? Going to sort by age here, look at some of the younger players available. Jason Dickinson, who, if you know from our Florida Panther stream from FHM4, kind of did some stuff for us, but didn't get a lot done either. Anthony DeClaire, who just can't seem to turn that corner. We'll grab Curtis Lazar. Not expecting a huge amount from Calgary, but you never know. Should we take old man Corey Perry? He's hurt indefinitely. Ooh, I do not like that contract, though. It's too much. What's Zajak's contract? Too much, too, for a guy that old. I don't trust him not getting hurt. That's the biggest problem. Minnesota keeps trying to dump contracts, which is exactly kind of what I expect their GM to try and do. Decisions. All right, we'll grab Colton Sissons from Nashville, too. Should we take Patrick? No, can't take Patrick Marleau. Marcus Johansson. Let's see now. You know, we'll pick Dickinson up to send him to the minor leagues. Same with Tyler Bertuzzi. Even though some of these guys will have to clear waivers, so we risk losing them, but... And for Jeff, we'll take Jake Virtanen. I don't know if he's here watching. He might be, or he'll watch us eventually, so... Should I just try and take all the rest of Vancouver guys? We still got quite a few more picks. At this point... I'm gonna... Don't want to take Andrew Kopp. Take another one. I want to pick shutdown, guys. I'm tempted. You know what? We're going to grab Tanner Pearson. Old habits die hard. Alright, we've picked 26 guys. There's a point, you can just let the CPU finish the draft. They'll pick who they think is best. I'm going to do that now just so we can move on. And take a look at some of the other new things. So, okay, we picked up picking Joel Armia with Riley Sheehan, Colton Sevier. Alright. I don't hate any of those last picks, so those are good. I like that. Gives us some more balance. So if we go back now, we can see still tough options. I want to just look at my roster. Which again, these nice handy side buttons. And you can see the jerseys have also come in. So I'm going to send Eunice down. Take a look. So we currently have 30 guys on our roster. And so our goalies are dressed. We're going to dress Coburn, DeHaan, Alexiak. Okay, Lernat's going down. Going down. down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 defensemen. St. John's. Just Hetherington. So we'll run 3 or 4 left defensemen, 2 right defensemen. Not sure on Stephen Johns. We might hold on to him. Okay, so who's going down on forwards? Probably send Tyler Bertuzzi down. But alright, so we can put in Grabner's going in, Armia's staying in, Lowry, Fasco, Stahl, Lazar. We also have guys who are unsigned too, like William Nylander. We're going to need to get him under contract, which we will look at here in a minute, which is why our roster maybe looks a little bit thinner than what it actually is. Let's see here. Virtanen can go down to Greensboro. Josh Bailey's going to play. Colton Sisson's going to play. I haven't decided that yet. So okay, now we have a bit of an idea what it looks like. So I want to look at my unsigned draftees, essentially. So Jensen's playing overseas, so that's no worries. Nylander just wants to sign a bridge deal for $4 million, so yeah, a little over $4 million, that works. Nick Ritchie wants a very easy 3-year contract, so that's not a problem. Sundstrom. Playing for Kulin Red Star. Okay, so we got a couple guys in the KHL, which I'm also okay with. Contracts we don't have to sign. That gives us some hope. And we'll just go look at free agent center just in case anyone else has popped up of interest. But I feel pretty good about how our team is currently stacked. So we'll move on to the next day. So again, some of this isn't, should look familiar, but some of it a little bit different. And again, the side buttons I've brought over from Out of the Park Baseball, which has been quite nice. So Nylander has signed, he's happy. And I got a bunch of numbers that need to be assigned. Josh Bailey wants 12, okay. 55, done. We're going to give him 77 then. And Grubauer wants 31. Go ahead, Grubauer. He wants 12, so let's give him 21. Pearson wants 70, that's fine. I should also take a look at how I'm doing for cap space. I think I should probably be not bad. But that is something to be wary of when you do a draft. And okay, Jeremy wants 40. Okay, well, we're gonna give him we're gonna give him number 48. And you see Saros, Stephen Jones is 28, that's fine. Nylander wants 15, he can't have it, we're going to give him number 51 instead. Alright, bunch of new players, bunch of new numbers. Great, so check our roster here. And I can see we're actually well within our salary cap, so that's great. So I want to add Nylander in. And I'll wait another day to see if we get some more guys signed and brought in before making lineup adjustments and changes. And Zach Walker has signed. And continue to move on. Also, well, since before I forget as well, our official prediction for the year, what will happen is going to be on the NHL Network on Tuesday during the NHL show, which is at I believe it's 6 p.m. Eastern, but I better check that. Nick Ritchie wants 37, done. I'm not giving him 17, so he can have 73, and we'll see what he says. Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern, yes, on NHL Tonight. Our full FHM 5, what we believe will happen for this 2018-2019 season. Now, obviously, Quebec's not going to be in it, but you will see the rest. Now that our team is basically set, we can go back to our roster screen, and I'm going to add Tanner Pearson and send him down. Oh, there we go. Okay. So we might have a few too many guys here, so I might have to make some decisions on what we're going to do with some of them. But we'll kind of see. Maybe some injuries will help shake some things out, too. Now that we know what roughly our team's looking like, if I go to my... Let's start off with lines. I can, click drag guys where I want. But I'm just going to let my assistant create the lines here, and I'm going to make any adjustments as I see necessary. Stahl, centering, Nylander, John Kruk, Pearson, Fasca, Bailey, Ritchie, Lowry, Grabner, Lazar, Sheehan, Armia. I really don't mind any of those. DeHaan, Brody, that's pretty much how I thought my lines would end up being. So what I want to look at now is tactics. Tactics screen looks a little bit different than previous. So I want to focus more on offensive orientation, and I want to focus on physical. So our breakout, some of the stuff you may notice. So you can break it down by player, and switching to what you want them to be. Why did that? Interesting. So you can see our units and take a look at so even strength is good offense, good defense, good speed, but doesn't have a lot of toughness, but has good skill. Second line, good offense, good defense, good speed, a little bit more toughness, more skill. Or not more speed, a little bit less. Again, more speed. Third line looks really good. Fourth line, it's a little bit harder because that defensive pairing isn't there. And we can make changes depending on the lines as well. So you can see the tactics of what each individual line uses has changed. And we can set that up as such. And rather than have numbers, we're using star systems here too, as it's easy to see. And you can set up how your offensive, defensive are working. We'll go in more of this in our regular stream, which will be on Wednesday at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/OOTP Developments. If you're watching us live right here, if you're watching on YouTube, then you know where to go when Jeff's here and can talk about some of the things that's going on. Didn't mean to click that. So other easy things we can look at is, again, the different things, but down here, the tactical tendencies, you can switch, and using the slider, how much you want. So I want my players to be hitting lots. I want our tempo to be, kind of low, medium. We're going to leave it in the middle. Back checking, pressure, attacking. We want attacking to be pretty high. And so we're just going to kind of just let's see how things go. So right now, click the wrong button. I meant to hit play so we can send towards the start of the new season. The one thing about being here, so we have some guys signing, gonna send them down. And we'll just let it sim. In the chat, Ravengra says, with your testing, have you noticed improvements with the lineup selection of coaches? Yes. There was improvements over the Life of 4 as well, but I've seen in my own personal games less tendencies of players who I felt should be playing more minutes being put somewhere else. But that being said, for the most part, I'm usually controlling the teams as well. So, which is never a bad option. And much like 4, you can control everything but still let your assistant do some settings if you want them to make some of the changes or control. Like, for instance, if injuries turn up and you want to do a longer sim and don't want to have to deal with that, that's an easy thing to do. And not a bad thing to do either. One of the other questions I've got asked was, has sim speed improved? I've noticed that it seems to be, I've been doing sims a little bit quicker. It's not drastically faster, but as Sebastian mentioned in the forums, but I've definitely seen some improvements on some stuff. And again, the more leagues you have running, the better, or the more leagues you have running, it will slow down the sim speed, because again, it's generating thousands of extra players and extra GMs and coaches and assistants and everything else, because all these players exist and live in these worlds. Revenger says, I imagine these improvements over tactics should help with that. I like to take the reins as a coach, but I find that I get better results with a hired coach. Less fun that way, though. It depends Depends on what you like to do. Again, for the most part, I still like having my own control because, you know, no matter what you do, eventually at some point you're going to be like, ah, man, I wish we could push something a little bit different, whether it's in game or not. I'd like to try and push us and hopefully get to a game so we can take a look at the end game before we call it for this stream, just so you have an idea of seeing what it looks like live. But as you may have noticed from our earlier stream, is that you will see a referee come out and make signs for penalties being called or for goals being scored and such. Also this year, with the sound effects, you can add custom goal horns, which is something I know some people wanted, including myself. So that's nice. And a good thing to do. Again, now we're just hitting the end of July, so there's been some stuff happened, but you can see storylines are back in FHM 5 as well. And we have some added, there's been some new ones added, but there's still more to come as well. A lot more, in fact, let's be, not a lot more, but more new ones. As I alluded to in our stream the other night, I've written some new ones for some mascots and have some ones dealing with, for instance, a story as we saw over the summer. Video games are now becoming kind of a big thing, so one of the stories to come will be about players getting addicted to games, which is always entertaining. The storylines, of course, not somebody, you know, blowing their career. Any other questions in the chat? And again, if you're just joining us, so we did an expansion with the Quebec Nordiques because you can start now on July 1st. So we built our team through an expansion draft. You can actually expand the league past 36 teams now using the league structure option. Although it will be capped, I'm not sure what the cap number is. You can also expand any league in North America as well as the KHL. This does not mean you can yet create new custom leagues and put them into the real world. I know that is a feature we've seen requested a couple times now, and that may come in a future version. And I say may because there's still lots of decisions to be made, and I do not want to put someone on the spot. So you also notice as we're simming here, said we have new images for the background going on. It's very nice. I find it very calming. I don't know myself. Something nowadays we have lots of advertisements all over the boards, but there's something I enjoy about the simplicity of watching hockey highlights from, you know, the 80s or 70s or earlier, and there being, you know, virtually no marks on the ice, nothing other than maybe the logo, but nothing on the boards. Myself, I don't know, maybe it brings back part of that, you know, minor league or playing in, you know, from when I was a kid playing lots of hockey, playing in boards that weren't all, didn't have advertisements all over the place. But we're getting closer here now as we're simming just about to the end of August. There might be a hair bit of a slowdown right now because this is when the NCAA starts kicking off at this time, just at the August here. And clicking to get things to show up. So while this continues to load, and I got what's going on here. Let me just pull this up. On the forums earlier today, I posted some of the new things. What you will see in Franchise Hockey Manager 5, some of the new changes. So just pulled up the forum list here. And so new tactic system completed, and you can start an online league now. Again, options, probably go into that at some point again with another video. So staff personalities have been expanded. You can set up your team up for long-term success by hiring staff members that fit with your plan. Additional in-game graphics. Historical random debut. So that's, again, pretty fun, and it's kind of interesting seeing, you know, especially because it can be players at different ages coming in. And if you see in the corner, I'm just flipping back to make sure the game is continuing to sim. So you can start on July 1st, which is what we did, which is why we're waiting through this sim. Generate new league schedules on demand, which is why the league structure can be there and might need to be changed. Again, the game may stop you as well if you, for instance, don't have the right playoff format for your league, for instance, so that's good to know. All the rosters have been updated for all the leagues. And okay, got some updated messages here, so we'll flip back here in a second. Okay. And let's just set this to go to the preseason. So you can set national origin of players and custom games to your exact specifications. So that means if you want to have, as Jeff said in our first live stream, if you want to create a league that is set in Belarus, you can make sure all the players are Belarusian who play in the league, which is something very nice and neat to give you that little bit more authenticity. So just pulling that back, we are now on September 5th, so we're just about at a game finally. It can take, again, it's going through pretty fast as all the stuff's generating in. And again, we have a new schedule because we added a 32nd team to the league. I'm personally really interested to see how Toronto does in this, because this is the first time I've done this. I haven't done an expansion in FHM 5 yet. And a long time ago, people might remember, if you're a long-time historical fan, that Winnipeg used to play in a division with the Leafs way back, and which is part of the reason why I wanted to move them. Plus, give another, original 6 team back to the West. Doesn't always need to be Detroit, but Chicago's all lonely by itself. This way, too, we'd also probably get a good idea to see which team is better between Winnipeg and Toronto. Although, it's a little bit tougher to see as we took away, William Nylander and took away Adam Lowry from the Jets. Now, not saying they're even, but Adam Lowry's play in the playoffs last year certainly proved that he is a very important part of the Jets' future. With the shutdown line of him and Andrew Kopp and Brandon Tanev. For those of you interested in making mods as well, the templates are, if you have for previous FHM versions, are still the same. Everything will still work if you have downloaded previously for FHM, 1, 2, 3, or 4. You can add them to your FHM5 files. Steamworks is still in the game and will be up and running as soon as the game is available on Friday, October 5th. The mods section will be switched to FHM5 here very shortly, including, again, my own personal historical minor league logo mod, which has over 335 logos in it. And if you're looking for logos for teams, even currently, that maybe not all of them have names on them, so if you're looking for something that you could use, then that's not a bad place to look as well. And again, if you find any mistakes, you can let me know too. But everything should be tracked and working as far as I know. Hello, Volpix199 in the chat. One of the cool things too is remembering who won the championship the year before, won the Stanley Cup. That's always nice to see, because sometimes when you get playing in longer term sims, you kind of forget who won unless you're winning every single time. Which, if you are, good for you. For us on these live streams, if you've been following us, you would notice we haven't won one yet. As Jeff said, oh, but we won the WHL championship. Yes, but we haven't won a Stanley Cup, and that's the number one thing we want. So we can take a quick look here of our development report has come in. Braden Coburn got worse, but everybody else got better. Nothing of great importance here. So we got to set our captains and assistant captains. So let's do that. So I want to go to my roster. I'm going to switch it down to look at mental ratings. Number one, most important, is leadership. Second to that, team player is important. Determination is also big. It looks like the game really wants me to have Josh Manson as our cap. Which is interesting. I thought Jordan Stell would be the obvious choice, but apparently not. So I guess we're going to set 26-year-old Josh Manson as our captain. Alright, we'll put Stella as assistant 1. And assistant 2 is going to fall to... You know what? I'm going to set it to Adam Lowry. Even though he's a little bit further down, he's still got great determination, and 14 for leadership is still pretty good. So I'm happy with that. So we have a game versus Chicago, so I'm going to play the game out. I'm just going to let it kind of play as it goes. You can see Philip Grubauer's in net. It's interesting that everybody's set to screener, so something happened here. Not everybody should be screening. I'll have to go back and look to see what's going on. So I'll do that after this game, because I'll probably end the stream here. I'll be back on... Try and probably get back on tomorrow, as long as I don't interfere with the OTP stream. If nothing else, we'll be back on Wednesday, and I'll probably be back on Thursday, and probably Friday as well. But I'll be off Saturday and Sunday, but we will be back on Monday for... I can guarantee that. So we can see here... take a look. Assistant feedback gives us an idea of what's going on. I'm going to set my options. just going to set it down to normal here. Clock speed. No, we're going to keep clock speed on fast. Average highlight sound. Put it on medium. Game stoppages. Alright. So let's click play. I'm just going to slow down the play-by-play speed here a little bit, just down to normal. Now the numbers are there because I'm running into debug mode. There you can see, goal scored by Braden Coburn, assist by Adam Lowry. That's interesting. Okay, that didn't... So something went wrong there. Okay, I'll have to look into that, see what went wrong. Not a great start for us, but very typical of Quebec, I would say. It is, we're piling on a lot of shots. He is having a terrible game. Darn. 4-2. Well, this has been an entertaining first period, that's for sure. first period, 4-2, Etching 11-10. Not bad. Not a bad start. Penalty called. Alright, so I'm just going to stop it after this play. So we're going to go to tactics, and again we can see some of the names you might recognize previously from FHM 3.4. And I'm just going to look at try and get jump in on boards. Change up some of these roles. Guys, see if we can make a bit of a difference there. And you can see they're still rated out of, I think it goes all the way up to 15, but I can't think off the top of my head. 15 or 20? I think 15. So just gonna give some guys some different roles. And see now that we have a better idea of what's going on. Alright. Let's get him hitting harder. Alright. Let's try these with these adjustments, see if we can get things going. Goaltender interference. Shooting. And it seems to have worked. We've tied up the game. Big goals. So we're out shooting them, turning it around. So yeah, we can see a much better idea of just better idea of how to make the adjustments on tactics. I'm not sure why everybody defaulted to screener. That shouldn't have happened. So I'm going to look in to find out why that happened after this. And you can make manual adjustments as well. We can see our UC Saros is actually in net now. I don't know if we pulled Grubauer after 5 goals or not, but 4 goals. We've taken a 5-4 lead. All right, we're going to go Jordan Stahl. As we wanted and as expected, actually laying a beat down. Come from behind. Oh, Patrick Kane ties her up. 5-5, 17 minutes left in the third period. Okay, so we're going on the power play. Come on, let's get a goal. Just about double them in shots. We're going to need something to turn it around here. Nylander taking a penalty. Oh, man. But we score short-handed. And the crowd goes wild. Well, crowd on the street. Oh, but we give it back immediately. Come on. 6-6. This is a wild preseason game. What a back and forth game. Preseason hockey, man. Everything's going crazy. But you know what? This is not bad for us for getting our adjustments in for our first game. Trying to figure out how the team we built was going to work. Seems to be working okay, so that's good news. I do not know if this will be a sim we continue to go with for an extended period of time. It might be. But I wanted to show you, or give you an idea of how to do the expansion, how you can do the league restructures live, which I hope it is, and you can kind of get an idea of what the game now is. We put Grubauer back in that. It's like, nope, get back in there. The other guy gave up 4 goals. You're going back in for the final 5 minutes. I love it. Again, we piled on almost 40 shots, so Crawford's been basically... Crawford and no, Ward, yeah, they've been standing on their heads pretty good. There's just only so much we can do. Giving up 28 shots is not very good on us, though. So we'll need to look in and figure out what happened with our defense there. And so we lose 8-6. rough go about it. We scored 2 goals a period. They scored 4 goals, 0-4. Ooh, that is not nice. But that was a wild game. So taking a look at the game ratings. 27 defensive game rating from Dylan Hetherington. Oh, that is rough. 27. That's the lowest I've seen in quite some time. Nick Ritchie, 36. Ooh. Lazar, 41. Luckily, he's only playing 8 minutes. Adam Lowry, 42 defensive game rating. Rough. Riley Sheehan, 39. Ugh. Grabner, 43. Armia, 36. Man, that is brutal. Versus, okay, let's look. Duncan Keith has a defensive game rating of 96. Wow. Okay, so Duncan Keith basically stood on his head to make sure we only scored 6 goals. And that was basically the difference. 96 game rating. That is impressive. Great night for Patrick Kane and for Alex Brinkat. 3 goals and 3 goals, 1 assist. Well, it's hard to argue with that. The good news is nobody got hurt, at least for us. So we have that to look forward to. People not getting hurt, I mean. No injuries to deal with. But, that being said, if you go right now to our website, ootpdevelopments.com, and you want to buy FHM 5, right now you can pre-order it and you get access to the game tomorrow, October 1st. Codes will be going out to everyone who buys. That is our e-seller version, not the Steam version. The Steam version does not go live till October 5th. You can pre-order it now on Steam, though. Or you can pick up the e-seller version and get into exclusive access to the beta tomorrow. So salary cap reminder, salary cap's dropping to 79.5, which means we're still in a good spot because we're only at 75 million. So yeah, perfect. This is about where we will end it. Again, so a lot of the stuff kind of just rebalanced, given a little bit more. So you can see roster, contract, protected, just so you know, again, who's currently on your roster. Roster, but not contracted. Contracts protected. And we can see we have a few prospects, not very many, but a few to give us some balance, as well as our draft picks. So we're all set up for some continued success. If I don't end up going on with this game, I'll probably still run a simulation so we can talk about what happens with Toronto in the Central Division, because I'm sure everybody is curious just like I am. So I think this is where we'll end the stream for now. So thank you very much for tuning in to another Franchise Hockey Manager stream. We typically stream every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern on twitch.tv/OOTPdevelopments. Although with Franchise Hockey Manager 5 coming out very soon, our streams might be kind of all over the place. We will get some stuff up, though, for you to view. And all of our streams are archived on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/OOTPdevelopments. You can reach out to us on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/FranchiseHockeyManager. On Twitter, we're at Franchise Hockey. You can also find in our Twitter profile a link to our official Discord, which is the Out of the Park Developments Discord. So you can come talk about Out of the Park Baseball, MLB Manager, Franchise Hockey Manager, or anything else you want. Or you can do that on our official website forums, which is ootpdevelopments.com. Click on the community button. Again, I showed you a list of some of the new features from it, and I think that's about it. So thank you very much for tuning in. I'm going to push this as fast as I can onto YouTube. And so we will see you all again very soon.